Hello, welcome to Crafternoon. I'm Nicki Dennett, a printmaker, and today we're going to be printing using vegetables and other bits and bobs that we've got lying around the house. I'm just going to show you a few samples first, and then tell you a few things that you need to grab hold of if you've not got them already. So here's some potato print that I did onto some fabric and various different shapes as well. So I used some carrots for the little ones and potatoes for the others. This was made from just an eraser, so that was the eraser that it was cut out from, and this one, another one done on some fabric. So if you're going to work on fabric, you will need to mix your acrylic paints with some textile medium. That's this. That's what we used in the last printmaking session. Otherwise, you'll need some paper. I've got some cartridge paper, and it's not smooth. It's quite absorbent. So any paper that you use needs to be a little bit absorbent. Otherwise, it will just sit on the surface. Or you can use, I've used some brown paper for this, so we've made some wrapping paper out of brown paper, and on this one I have used the rough side, not the smooth side. It didn't work too well on the smooth side. So if you grab those bits and pieces, I've got a cutting mat just to do the cutting out from the vegetables on. Have a piece of kitchen roll at your side to dampen, to take all the damp out of your potatoes and your other vegetables. I've got a few leaves and things just for inspiration, so I can make some designs based on the shapes of the different types of leaves. And also have a piece of paper at the side just to test it out before you go straight onto your fabric or your paper, so you don't ruin it. The other things that we can do is things like this that are just cut out of cardboard, just shapes cut out of cardboard. And if you've got some string as well, you can make a string plate as well. All you need to cut out is a knife. So if you're doing it with children, if you do all the cutting out, and then they can have fun with the stamping afterwards. So we'll cut out some different stamps first, and then we'll go on to stamping them with the paints. I've got acrylic paint, so you can use watercolours. You'll get different effects from whatever type of paint you use. So watercolours, and if you're working with children, they might have some poster paints which are ideal as well. So if you're going to make, you'll need some PVA glue if you're going to make some string plates, so have that handy. I've got, oops, it's wet. I've got some sponges which you can use to apply the paint, or you can use a paintbrush. It's up to you, whatever you want to apply the paint with. So let's get started. I'm just going to put the screen down so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. So can you see that? Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Oops. Right, so I'm going to start with some potatoes and some carrots. So I'm going to cut. I'm using small potatoes. You can use bigger ones. I've got some that I cut out here before, and they're quite large ones. So it's up to you what size potato you use. But these are the baby salad potatoes. So I'm just going to cut that lengthways. Oops. Sorry about that. Just going to cut that lengthways. Just mind your fingers as you do that. Because they're quite wet, because they're quite new potatoes, I'm just going to damp them on. I'm just going to get rid of most of the moisture on the paper towel. That's better. So there's two ways you can cut these out. You can either start cutting little bits. I'm just going to do something like this one that I did earlier. So it's a kind of a leafy shape. So you can just literally cut the sides. After cutting it, I kept a few of these little bits because these are nice for little leaves and things, so you can print from those as well. So let's cut across that. fingers as you go. And nearly there. That one. Quite a simple little leaf shape. And just make a little bit of stalk at the bottom, so I've got a nice simple shape. Get rid of some of that moisture. Keep a couple of these bits just for later on, and I'll throw the rest away. So there you go, that's that one. So now I'm going to make one that I used on the fabric. So I'm going to make one more of that shape as well. So for that one, if you've got a lino cutting tool, these can be really handy. And a pen, if I use a pen, I can just draw the design in. Obviously it won't show up, but it will just cut into it a little bit. So you can just cut out, so it's just got something to work from. So just cut that, if you can see that. And then I just cut away all the edges. You can use a knife and cut around the whole thing if you want to. I'll just cut those away. I'll just use a knife just to get some of these skinny bits off. And then if you want to make the leaf bits that goes through the middle of the veins that go through the middle of the leaf, like this. So if you want to do some of those nice veins, just get a thin lino tool, or you can use a pen if you want to. You can down it with a pen or a lino tool. So it's up to you. If you've got lino tools, quite handy. And then I'm just going to do some of the veins. Damp. Get rid of the damp. Get rid of all the little bits. And I'll just finish that one off so that that's one that we can use for working with later. I'm going to cut those bits around. There we go. There, so we've got quite a simple leaf shape. Like that. Camera, there you go. Let's get rid of that bit there. There we go. Right, get rid of those bits and pieces. So we've got two plates or two printing stamps already to go with later. Just get all the bits off. Put those to one side. Now then, is the carrot as well. Now you can either cut the carrot straight across like that, or if you want it to be a different shape, you could cut it that lengthways like that. So you've got a different kind of shape, and you could either keep it, maybe we'll keep one just like that for making circles, and then you could cut into one as well. So I've just took the end off, so you can keep using, this is the old one that I did earlier, and you can just get quite a lot of plates out of one, quite a lot of stamps out of one. And then just do a little star shape. And again, you can either cut it out with your knife, or you can do it with a lino tool if you've got one. So I've just done like a little star shape. So I'm going to use a knife for this. Just cut all those bits out. So you can use any vegetables you want. You might have turnips or parsnips. I tried it with onions. Onions work fairly well, but you tend to have to let them dry off a bit first because they are very wet. So there's another one for us to use. There we go. And I've got a star shape. Right, so I'll keep all those together. And the one that's just a circle as well, we use that. We might do the same again with the more potato, just keep it as a round shape to use to create little pictures. Okay. So for this one, it's made with string, and if you've got some bits of cardboard lying around that you've used from some packaging, any bits of corrugated cardboard, for this, this is quite nice for printing as well. So I've just peeled off the top layer of the corrugated cardboard, so we'll use that in something as well. So to make this, you need your PVA glue, which I've got here, and I'm just going to put PVA glue all over the plate. Let's see. So I've just got that. I'm just going to paint PVA all the way over it. You may need to add more as you go along. So this one you will have to let dry for quite a while before you can use it. And then I've got some string. Let's get some string. And then I'll leave it attached. And then you can just start. What I did in the middle, I got a pin. Got a pin and just held the middle bit in with a pin, and then you can just start working around in a circle or any shape you want. It doesn't have to be a circle, you can do whatever you like. You might want to do a face or a hand or something, but I'm just keeping it simple and doing a circle. So just work all the way round, and if you need to add more glue as you go, just lob plenty of glue on there. If you need to add more pins to hold it in place, you can do that. So that's, and then at the end, when I've done all that, I just cut the cardboard off around the edge. There's that one. And the final thing that we've got lying around here is some erasers. So for the erasers, you probably will need to use a lino tool if you've got one, and you can draw. The great thing is you can draw the design on there first. So we'll stick with the leaf shapes. I'll just do a simple leaf. Quite a small leaf, and we'll put the veins running up the middle. So I've just drawn that on, if you can see that. And then with the lino tool, just cut up. Just watch your fingers when you do this, and always work away from your fingers, from yourself and your fingers. So that's just like cutting lino. And I'm sorry for the delay of the start today. We had a few technical issues, so I think we got started quite late, so we're going to run over the time. There we go. Ooh, the dog's just been in to see me. Right, so then I'm just going to do the vein up the middle. And there. There we go, and then just some little veins. So I just kept it quite simple. So that's that. Okay. Get rid of all the bits. And then put to one side. So that's the. Just fell over there. Right, okay. Right, so I'll just check on the time. I'm not quite sure what time we started. Okay, so that's all our bits that we've cut out. You can see those. So now we're going to start printing. So I've mixed up some paints already. I'll just pop those to one side. So you need a palette, so you could use just an old chip tray if you want to, unless you've got a special palette. I use, it's a stay wet palette. So what it is, it's got a lid on it, and it has has a piece of blotting paper underneath, and then it's got some paper on top, some what do you call it? So then it keeps so you wet the paper underneath and you put this on top and it keeps the moisture in. I've mixed up a few colours, so I've mixed up some greens and yellows because we're doing leaf, so I thought I'll mix those up ready in preparation. And let's get stuff going to use. So we'll start with some paper. Now you can use either your sponge or your brush to apply the paint. Which one should we start with? Let's start with the first one that we did. So I'm just going to put some green on and some darker green. So you can mix the colours on there if you want to. And we're just going to test it on my paper first, just to see how it works and just see if it's okay. So I'll just test it on there before I go on to mine. And then we have a little print. So you can just adapt and change the colours. What I did on the other ones, I started with a really pale colour. I'm just going to try that pale colour on there. Start with a. And you might want to make a pattern. So this is where it'll be fun for the kids as well, but it can be really effective. I'm just going to keep applying different bits of paint. There we go. So I'm just going to make a pattern out of that, and then I'm going to add a bit of different colour. Just keep working all over it until you've got something that you're happy with. Different colour again. So that's that one. Now let's try one of the other ones. Let's go with a yellow on this one. So you can just keep building up designs, and you can overlap them as well, which might make quite a nice pattern. I'll try again in your book, and just see what happens if you do two prints from the same one. You might get a little bit paler. You get paler and paler, and works quite well. So I'm just going to do some of those. Overlap a few. So you can see it's building up quite a nice base pattern. Right, so and then I'm going to stick with this one and use a different colour over the top. And again, I'll overlap a few. So you've got some different colours. So can you see that? Over here a bit, so you can see. So I'm just overlapping a few of those colours. And then you can build it up with maybe a darker colour. Can you still see that? Put a darker colour in there. I've just added a little bit of black to that. You could add a bit of grey, just to get a nice dark green, so you can see what's happening. Overlapping lots of different. I'm just doing it random. You can make it into a design of your own. Some darker greens. Got a nice pattern happening. That you see what's happening there. And so now we'll try some of the other ones. I think what I might do is try it on a bit of fabric this time. So if I get a bit of fabric, use the one I used before. Put that to one side. I'm just going to get this little bit. It's quite big, so we'll use one corner of it. Underneath this plastic, I've got pins. I've got some fabric, so I can pin it into place. Or just pin it down, or you can just tape it to the table while you work. I'm just going to pin each corner. So what I need to do now is add some of this textile medium to my paint. So I'm just going to get a little bit and mix it in with the paint. So get a different brush and a palette knife. So I'm just going to pour a bit into about that much. Just got a blob, and I'm going to mix it into some pale yellow. So just mix in enough for what you need. I'm just going to start with that one. So you'll need to mix that in with every colour that you use. Over there for that. I might try, let's try the eraser. I'll just paint some, probably need a bit finer on there, so you probably don't need as much paint on. It might be better to do that one with a brush, with a sponge, sorry. And then just try it first on your little paper that you've got. So that's, yeah, so there's probably a bit too much paint on there, so I need to put a little bit less than I did. So it's a good job that I tried it. Do that without getting too much on. Let's give it a go. Let's go straight in there, give it a go. Do it over here. So sometimes the second ones work better. So I can't really see the veins on that one. Let's go back to some of the other ones. Let's try this one. Try the carrot. Medium in there. So go on with the carrot. So this one, I don't know if you can actually see it because it's quite a pale colour that I'm using to start with, and then I'll start working over with some darker colours. So it's quite a pale yellow. Using again, I'm just going around random places, but you may want to make more of a design of yours. And again, so I won't do the whole of it, you can sort of get the gist of that. And then I'm going to work over a slightly darker colour, which I've mixed in, which I've also mixed some textile medium into. Once you finish doing your fabric, you will need to let it dry and then iron it, because that will fix the textile medium and paint onto it. So I could just keep going and going and going with this and just keep going over them. And then where's my little leaves that I remember that we kept some bits and bobs earlier, some little tiny bits of that we cut out of the potato. So I'm going to use those for little leaves now. So let's get a green, and I'm just going to put the paint onto there, and then in between your other bits that you did, again you could use different colours on it. You can use 2 colours, and then let's see, put them in between. You've also remember that we've got the end of the carrot as well. Let's do a yellow with that one. So I'm keeping it in the colours quite greeny and yellow. And you can just make circles with that, which you can also add things to afterwards. So again, you might want to use the end of the potato, and you could make sun shapes, which is quite nice for kids. Oopsie daisy, that one slipped a little bit. And then I'll add a different colour. Doesn't matter about that because we can just go over with another colour. I don't know if you can see that I'm doing. It's over here. So let's do it over here, sorry. So I've got the circle, and then I'm using the little bit of potato, and I can go around the edge. Can make a sun. I'll just check on the time. I don't know how we are for time. I think I'd say we've got about another 5-10 minutes left. And then with another colour, again, I'm going to go in between those ones. It's a bit messy this because it's such a small stamp. And so it's a good idea to have a cloth nearby to keep wiping your hands on. Right, so having done that, I'm going to use a finer brush. Let's have a look. Got a fine brush here, and then I'm just going to add some details to it. So you might, if you haven't done it, then leave the lines out in your leaf shape. And these look a little bit like ivy, so I'm just going to. You will probably need to let it dry first. So the ones I did earlier, I did actually let the leaves dry completely before I did any of the line work afterwards. So let's do one over here because the camera's over here. So I'm doing one of the little triangles. I'm just going to draw a leaf veins into it. So just add them to all of those, which is what I did before. So, and you might want to paint in some different colours into them. So you can do that as well, just to add more interest to them. So I'll add some veins to that. I'm just using a slightly darker colour to do that one's dry, so I can do that one. To add the veins. So can you see? So pretty better to lift this up. So I'm not going to do the whole thing. You sort of get the gist of that. Just wipe my hands again. There. So you can see I've started putting little veins onto the fabric. And I know it's messy, but you could go around with your fingers as well and make little interesting bits as well. So you might just want to add little blobs here and there just to create a nice pattern until you've filled up your whole fabric, which don't forget to iron it after it's dry. So I've got some extra little blobs going on in there, and a little bit of orange to add interest. Maybe I'll add some inside the circles as well. There we go. Oh, and so what else have we got here? So this is the one I made earlier, so that's quite a big potato, so let's just do one of those on here as well. I'm mixing all my colours up together. Let's have a bit of orange on it. There we go. I'm just going to stamp that one on. Quite nice colours. So I'll get a paler one from the second stamp. An even paler one. So we've got quite a nice design coming along there. So I'm just going to take that away now. And I think that's pretty much it. I'm not going to do the cardboard one. Let's see me again. Sorry. Back. we're back. Sorry about that. Lift it up so you can see me. So I hope you enjoy playing about with the potatoes and whatever vegetables you've got. I didn't use the cardboard one, but pretty much it's quite difficult for if you're doing it with children, but you just cut out the squares and then just ink it up as we've done with the other ones. With the onion, I didn't really do anything to it. I cut out a few of these shapes here, just cut those lines out there just to create that. What do you call it? As I said before, you can also use watercolours and you'll get a different effect with the watercolours. It's quite nice. Let's do a bit of that. I think we've got 5 minutes left, so let's just show you a different effect with the watercolours. So I'll just blot some of these onto the paper towel to get the paint off. Oops, spilt my things everywhere. Right, so I've got a pot of water over here, and I'm just going to open this down again so you can see. Okay. Hi Amanda, Avalon and Susan. Thanks for watching. So I'm just gonna do a red on this one, and what other colour? An orange. So just so that you can get the different idea of how the different paints work. So that's quite watery. Which we'll put that on the side. So with this you can also flood more. Can you see that where it is? Oh, I think the paper's holding the iPad. So if you can see that, just hold it up and you can put some more paint in there and it'll just run around and they'll blend into each other. So it's nice if you want that effect. It will also work on fabric like that as well. There we go. Some quite nice leaf shapes. Put that back down. So I think that's about it. Sorry, we've had a few technical issues today, so we are running quite late, and I'm on the iPad instead of the computer, which keeps falling over, which isn't very helpful for me. But I hope you've had fun, and I hope you enjoy cutting out your shapes and just playing with them, creating patterns. I think I'll push. Yeah, so sorry about all the technical issues today, and I'm not sure who's on tomorrow, but if you come back again to the next Crafternoon shortly, I'm sure everybody would love to see you. Thanks for watching. Bye.